Chicago's #1 news, ABC7 Eyewitness News at 7, starts streaming now.
The Chicago police are looking for the man who grabbed a young girl off the street and sexually assaulted her.
Also, the girlfriend of the suspect in last year's deadly Christmas parade attack taking the stand at his trial.
Final preparations underway for the Chicago Marathon. How runners are helping local charities during the race.
We have new reaction to last night's gubernatorial debate, and we are hearing from Governor Pritzker and challenger Darren Bailey.
Now that's a lot of pumpkin pie. The huge pumpkin being grown in the western suburbs. We'll tell you all about it. Good evening on this Friday. Thanks for joining us. Right now, Chicago police looking for the person who kidnapped and sexually abused a child in the Washington Park neighborhood.
This happened yesterday in the 6200 block of South Indiana. An 11-year-old girl telling police she was walking home from school when a man grabbed her from behind, pulled her into an alley and sexually assaulted her. She eventually broke free and ran away. Parents we spoke with today in the area say they are horrified and they will be more on alert.
Nowadays, you can't allow your kids to walk anywhere alone. Like, that's real scary. And I pray that she gets the therapy that she needs and no more walking home alone. Like, this is a warning for all us that is and do live in Inglewood and outside of the Inglewood neighborhood.
The suspect is described as an African-American male, 45 to 60 years old, 5'8 to 5'10", with a thin build, graying hair, and a mustache or goatee. He was wearing a black shirt with a rip on the right sleeve, black jeans, a silver belt buckle, and beat-up black work boots. If you have any information about this person, you're asked to call police.
Investigators say a man who was shot by Chicago police at the 10th District Station earlier this week was armed with a BB gun. A judge ordered Tarek Bland to be held on a $200,000 bond. And prosecutors say Bland was shot after allegedly pointing the BB gun wrapped in a plastic bag at officers. In the hospital, Bland reportedly told police he was trying to get the officers' attention and had no intention of shooting them. Bland is charged with aggravated battery of a peace officer.
The Purdue University student accused of stabbing his roommate to death made his first court appearance today, where he claimed that he was blackmailed. Ji Min Shah was granted a continuance in his case as formal charges are now being filed. Police say Varu Manish Cheda was found dead from multiple stab wounds in his dorm room after Min Shah called 911. He is due back in court next Thursday.
Emotional testimony today in the trial of Darrell Brooks, charged in the deaths of 6 people at last year's holiday parade in Waukesha. The first person on the stand was Brooks' ex-girlfriend, as she testified about a violent encounter she had with Brooks on the same day as the parade tragedy.
He hit me and I jumped out of his car. Well, his mother's car.
Where were you sitting when he hit you?
The passenger side front seat. I cried and then I just jumped out of the car.
Police dash cam video of what happened that day was also shown in court. Brooks is representing himself at the trial.
The Bank of America Chicago Marathon is happening on Sunday. Organizers say some 40,000 runners from 50 states and 100 countries are taking part. Our John Garcia has more on the race and the look at the charities some runners are helping out this year.
It's just a light jog to stay loose. These ladies conserving their energy for the big run on Sunday morning, the Bank of America Chicago Marathon. They've run numerous races before, usually with their mother, Terry Gowdy, a veteran marathon runner, and also the wife of ABC7 I-Team reporter Chuck Gowdy. But after she developed cancer and ultimately lost the battle in July, the girls decided to run this one for her.
I originally did it and signed up because I wanted to help save my mom's life, and it went the other way, but now I'm in this to help save others' lives.
The 3 Gowdy sisters decided to raise money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. They say the original goal was $10,000. They've smashed that, however, with more than $52,000 so far.
You know, this has been a hard time for our family, but the hope and the goodness that we've seen in other people have really made this a comfortable time. You know, we feel comfort and love from everyone who's donated.
The Bank of America Chicago Marathon has become an incredible fundraising vehicle for dozens of charities. Runners have raised some $265 million for various charities since the program started in 2002. ABC 7 photographer Joe Imbrogno also running Sunday. He's also raising money for JDRF, benefiting type 1 diabetes research. His wife Sandra, also an ABC 7 photographer, is diabetic.
The money's great, but the more awareness you can raise to other people, it's the greatest thing in the world. And
this is not the first marathon for Imbrogno, and 2 of the 3 Gowdy sisters have run marathons before as well. But they say running for charity that is so close to their hearts makes the experience even more meaningful.
Every race we'll do now moving forward, whether it's together or on our own, it'll always be in her memory because she's the one who inspired all of us.
Marathon officials say there are about 180 charities who are benefiting from the marathon, about 12,000 runners who are running for charity. This year on track to be the largest fundraising year in marathon history. In Grant Park, John Garcia, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Wow, so glad they shared their story with us. Incredible. Marathon runs through numerous streets to Sheridan Road in the Regular area, all the way south to 35th Street in Bridgeport. Many road closures throughout downtown area, many of which are in effect right now. Take a look at your screen. There's the course. You can find all this information on our website. It's abc7chicago.com.
It was so great to see the daughters of Chuck Gowdy in that piece. And Joe, our photographer, I had no idea is a marathon runner.
Isn't it something we learn about new things about our coworkers all the time?
Yeah, that's so cool. I don't run. You?
No, I've never even done a half marathon. But great because camera folks aren't used to turning the camera around to talk about that. And Sandra, both of them, such gifted photographers. And it's nice to hear their stories.
That was awesome. Okay, we'll be cheering all of them on Sunday. And of course, they're all watching the forecast too.
This is a big one. Meteorologist Cheryl Scott with us on this Friday on the stream team. A lot of runners like cool weather.
Yes.
It helps. And you might just be delivering that.
I am delivering a near perfect forecast for the marathon. Some runners have actually reached out to me and said I prefer it even cooler. So interestingly enough, we're going to have temperatures basically starting off in the 40s for that race. Very comfortable throughout the morning and then climbing into the 60s into the afternoon. So it depends on your time. Temperatures right now outside, the chilliest air mass of the season is settling on in. Right now we're in the 40s. We're going down overnight. We're going to wake up tomorrow near freezing in a lot of locations out to the west. So with our temperatures going down, we are also looking at the potential of some widespread frost, and the threat will be in that warning zone. Freeze and frost alerts on the map. Anyone in purple up to the north, back to the west, you're under a freeze warning, frost advisory, patchy frost for everyone in blue here as we head into the overnight hours, the exception being downtown Chicago and very close to the lakefront as we have those lake water temperatures keeping our actual temperatures near and above the freezing mark. So tomorrow it's going to be chilly for sure. As we head into the day, we'll only have our highs in the 50s. But as I mentioned, Sunday not as cool. We'll go through the timeline. Also any rain threats over the next couple of days in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Yeah, still lots to talk about, Cheryl. We'll see in a few minutes. Fewer than 24 hours after the first televised debate in the race for governor, voters in Chicago got their first chance to cast ballots as early voting in the city got underway. ABC 7 political reporter Craig Wall has a look at how the debate may shape voters' attitudes.
Today is election day, and every day from today until November 8th is election day. Are you ready to vote?
Governor J.B. Pritzker rallying with supporters and other elected officials this afternoon to kick off early voting. He then led a procession to the nearby Loop Supersite, where Pritzker backers then lined up to cast their ballots. But while Pritzker and Bailey are both hoping to see a boost in support from last night's debate, one expert is not so sure it will change many minds.
I would be very surprised if it changed much at all. I really would. I mean, I think people are pretty solidified, not only about this particular race, but just where we are in American politics right now. People are pretty dug in.
There was no question. But that debate last night was really affirming.
Both Bailey and Pritzker putting their spin on last night, claiming victory. But the tenor of this campaign, which had both candidates frequently calling the other a liar during the debate, continued today.
We've already been seeing a lot of new action in our campaign today. I feel like last night's debate exposed Governor Pritzker's complete ineptness, his incompetence.
I'm excited about how it went last night. I actually think that Darren Bailey showed he knows very little about state government, doesn't have any good ideas.
Bailey facing an uphill battle to win voters, but remaining hopeful.
I think people are ready for a real change in Illinois, and I think we're going to see a shocker come November 8th. I really do.
People have to have a reason to vote out an incumbent and it's up to Senator Bailey to give them that reason.
The election is now less than 5 weeks away. On October 18th, Bailey and Pritzker will square off in their only other debate. One more chance for people who have not yet voted to see the candidates go head-to-head before they head to the polls. Craig Wall, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Craig, thank you. And the race for Illinois State Controller is one of several contested statewide races this year. Incumbent Susana Mendoza is facing off against McHenry County Auditor Shannon Teresi. The controller plays an important role of paying the state's bills, but a new Republican-backed bill would combine the offices of controller and treasurer.
I definitely support combining the offices of comptroller and treasurer. What we see is actually other states have those offices combined, and that saves taxpayer money.
The credit rating agencies, you have to listen to them. And they've already said that if the state of Illinois were to merge those two functions, they would see it as a massive loss of internal controls and would be a credit negative item.
You can hear more from both candidates this Sunday on Our Chicago during our 8 a.m. newscast.
The midterm elections are just over 5 weeks away. Early voting now underway in Chicago. 2 locations opened downtown this morning in the Loop. A steady stream of people trickled into the super site on Clark and Lake this morning. The ABC 7i team reported this week that federal law enforcement officials have a full court press underway to ease already frayed nerves of Americans in advance of next month's midterm election. Our investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy with the FBI initiative and the Illinois officials sharing their greatest concerns. Chuck.
Rob, with voting machines dusted off in Chicago and downstate, authorities have prepped their war room in Springfield, where on Election Day, a force of top IT investigators will be backed up by law enforcement and a special military unit poised to respond if there is an attack on our election infrastructure here. That even as the FBI now strongly downplays any notion of a foreign cyber attack poised for November 8th. When voters line up Election Day, stand side by side in Illinois' 108 election zones, only one thing matters to most, that when their ballot is slipped into this machine, it ends up being counted. It may be the greatest public trust, in recent years challenged by false narratives that the process is flawed, the count not to be trusted, and the equipment part of some grand conspiracy. Tonight, this from the FBI and U.S. Cybersecurity Agency stating that no compromise of the election system has been detected and that any large-scale disruptions are unlikely to prevent or affect voting next month. It is a hardline message tonight being underscored by Illinois authorities who in 2016 had to fend off a Russian attack on the state's voter database, resulting in the theft of personal information for 500,000 Illinois registered voters.
The kinds of attacks that can be done remotely to government systems are not going to reach, let's say, a voting tabulator in a polling place. Because all that equipment is never on the internet. It's never vulnerable to these kind of remote cyber attacks. This idea of questioning the integrity of the election system is fairly recent. In prior elections before this came in, it was not a question of, is it rigged?
Even as the military now backs up Illinois election security efforts, tonight authorities here say they are more concerned about a homegrown threat.
We're looking for disinformation that's put deliberately on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, to misinform voters.
The I-Team Insider tonight, why there are lingering questions about election integrity and what authorities are doing to answer them. Rob?
Chuck, in 2022, haven't election officials and law enforcement had time to repair the problems that seem to have started in 2016? In 2020, for that election, we didn't hear a lot about massive voter fraud or problems from an outside threat other than the misinformation.
You would think that 6 years would be more than enough time, but don't forget this is the government where things, in order to be bought and paid for, have to go through the process. Government officials in Chicago and Cook County, across the state and really across the country, are saying they have fixed all of these issues, prompting what the FBI says is that there are no problems out there on their radar that they are aware of, at least, and that they expect things to be very smooth next month.
When the FBI says there are no threats, Isn't that always the case, that we don't necessarily know we're under attack until it happens?
This is the post 9/11 strategy. What you don't know, there may not have been any kind of a threat. On the other hand, the government may well have tamped down dozens or hundreds of similar 9/11 style threats. The same thing goes with elections. They put these systems in place. We are under constant cyber attack, according to what the experts say. It's hard to know how many of these they actually are able to stop in progress, how many are automatically discounted and discarded.
Election Day, a little more than 4 weeks away. What's the biggest challenge for the people who oversee voting and for law enforcement that monitors any potential wrongdoing?
It really sounds like it's far less of a foreign threat this year in 2022 than it is maybe the guy down the street in his basement putting out false information, trying to alert voters on Election Day that polling places are either broken down or that there's some issue there, that your vote is going to be stolen, or that polling places will be closing at 4 o'clock instead of the normal 7 o'clock. So they're really very closely monitoring those kinds of things in an effort to change the voter turnout on Election Day, and claim that they have these close agreements with social media companies to sweep in and take care of these as they're happening in real time.
This certainly won't be the last story we do on keeping our election integrity intact. As you and the team, the I-team, did in this story, is your sense from sources that the state of Illinois is well prepared for what could possibly come our way?
As well prepared as anybody could be, I think, Rob. They've spent a tremendous amount of money. They've had federal funds and state funds thrown at this for the last 6 years. They have all the equipment in place. They have this war room in Springfield. They have a lot of manpower, and they have this National Guard unit that is heavily trained in not only monitoring cyber attacks, but responding to them quickly. I'm not sure that if you listen to what they're saying and all these resources are there, that there's much more that could be done at this point.
Yeah, that struck me as a bit of surprise hearing in your report the military's involved. By that you mean National Guard mostly?
It is. It's the Illinois National Guard. They're not actually out there in uniform with guns and bayonets, but they are on standby that night in a group to respond to something if it happens.
Chuck Gowdy with the I-Team Insider. Always appreciate your time.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, a lot to think about. Okay. Columbus Day spirit is alive and thriving in Chicago. If you're near Daley Plaza in the Loop, you will see the Italian flag on full display. A special flag raising ceremony today, kicking off the festivities. And be sure to join us for the Columbus Day Parade right here on ABC 7 starting Monday at 1 p.m.
Nothing that they could do or say could make up for all of that. Not for, especially my children.
8 years after she was released from prison, the case is officially dismissed against a Will County woman over the death of a baby at a daycare.
Cranking out the parking tickets, the surge in Chicago parking citations, and which neighborhood's getting slapped with the most fines.
And great gore, the prize-winning pumpkin in the suburbs. Its grower is making Chicago proud.
And how about State Street tonight? Look at this, a beautiful night in the city. These folks are fired up, and we're seeing a lot of people visiting for the marathon.
That's right. They were telling us, you know, they're running on Sunday, but they're sticking around to say hello to Chicago. Thank you, guys.
True runner right there. He's in his shorts and T-shirt. He's not moving a beat. So glad you're
so happy.
They are happy. It makes us happy.
Yes.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody. We'll be back right after this.
All right, you got to take a look at this. Making Chicago proud tonight, a suburban pumpkin grower with an award-winning green thumb. A Wheaton man is carving out a place in the history books by growing the biggest pumpkin in the state this year.
Our Mark Rivera got a great assignment and caught up with the gifted grower.
Good Gord, get a load of this guy.
I think this might be one of his biggest ever.
A giant prize of a pumpkin that was just named the largest in Illinois by the Illinois Giant Pumpkin Growers Association.
People that have never seen it before, that's what it's all about, seeing those reactions.
Joe Atkins is that gifted grower who found his calling carving pumpkins and wanted more.
With the carving aspect, I wanted to get into bigger and bigger mediums, so I decided that I'd have to grow them to get to the size that I wanted to carve.
Now, at the risk of playing whack-a-mole, Mark, I'm going to give you some of the stats on these gargantuan gourds. This is the biggest squash in Illinois, weighing in at 929 pounds. This is Joe's second biggest pumpkin at 1,580 pounds. And this is it, the biggest pumpkin in Illinois, weighing in at 1,760 pounds.
1760 was enough to give us the first place this year, so we were happy.
At its peak, that super squash was growing at 40 pounds a day and taking in 150 gallons of water every 24 hours for 3 months. And it's attracting quite the crowd.
I was kind of shocked when I saw it. I was like, this is really cool here. I'm surprised they don't have it at the fairground.
This guy always seems to have the biggest pumpkin, so he's got some kind of secret sauce.
But for Atkins, it's all about growing inspiration.
I have been growing for since I was probably 7. And he has been mentoring me, and he has been helping me.
Now, thanks to Atkins, 10-year-old Andrew Engel is giving them pumpkin to talk about.
I just feel like it's cool because no other kid in my grade grows pumpkins, and I feel like it's really cool.
In Wheaton, Mark Rivera, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay.
Really impressive, but we have a lot of questions.
Where do we start? First of all, that kid's awesome.
Yes.
I love that kid. He's going to break the record when he grows up.
But how did he move those pumpkins? It's
How
so
do you move
heavy.
them? And 150 gallons of water a day?
A day.
Hopefully it's well water, because what's the bill on that?
What is his water bill like?
And then 40 pounds a day it grew. So we were joking in the break. If you sat there and just stared at the thing, it just... And what's the inside look like? Are the seeds this big? We're going to get him. You had said, we got to get this guy on the show as we get closer to Halloween.
I want one of those seeds so I can try to plant it.
Right, right. We'll get him on the stream team to talk more about it, because what does he do with them when they're done?
Yeah.
Maybe he makes pumpkin
That would be fun.
pies that
Like dozens and dozens and
size
dozens.
of the table.
Yeah.
Awesome story.
Yeah, love that story.
He must got plenty of sunshine too, Cheryl, because I still can't believe it.
Right, Cheryl? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
It's truly remarkable. I don't even know what to say.
1,100 pounds.
I thought it was more, like 1460 or something.
Yeah, I think it's more.
Right. Oh, was it? Yes. Was it 17?
It was 17.
I'm off by like 600 pounds.
1760 pounds. I actually just wrote it down because I was like, what?
You're taking notes on this.
I'm taking notes on this story because
that might be the most interesting thing we got going tonight, next to weather.
Pretty fun.
So
what are we showing and airing and telling people about the largest state pumpkin?
It's good stuff. And the marathon forecast.
Oh, yeah.
So many good things to talk about this weekend. However, tonight might not be your cup of tea, but maybe you'll want some because it's going to be downright chilly. Temps already into the 40s. Yesterday, we were in the 70s. We had some lake effect rain earlier today. The rain coming to an end. Now temperatures going crashing down. Woodstock at 43. Midway still at 51. And today's high, only 57. Well below average by 10 degrees. Yesterday, we were at 76 degrees. Winds out of the north tapping into the chilliest air mass this season overnight tonight, and our lows going down into the 30s area wide. So we wake up tomorrow, and a lot of you are going to be near that freezing mark, perhaps some mid to upper 20s, not out of the question. The exception being closer to the lake and also the city, where temps will be in the mid to upper 30s, where we're not really anticipating any frost. However, frost and freeze alerts on the map for tonight. Some widespread frost possible here back to the north and west. Temps going down to that freezing mark. and then a frost advisory for all of the counties here in blue. So some patchy frost will be possible as we head overnight into the start of the day tomorrow. The good news is that we will quickly climb above that freezing mark early on by about 8 a.m. into the low 40s, and then the bar again is low tomorrow. But we get a day full of beautiful sunshine, so unseasonably cool. But it's not just us feeling it, it's the upper Midwest and parts of the north and east as well. You can see that blue contour here just taking over a good chunk of the country. So we're going to stay unseasonably cool as we head into the next 24 hours. But changes on the way. We'll get those temps back up. A brief little bout here of the unseasonably cool temperatures with our futurecast. Overnight clear skies allowing for those temperatures to drop off. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow. Highs returning into the 50s overnight. Saturday into Sunday not as cool. So we start off Sunday in the 40s and then climb into the 60s, and again mostly sunny skies, so no rain impacting your weekend plans. So as we spell this out for tomorrow, a high of 57, mostly sunny skies, a little bit windy, breezy. Temps will go up into the 60s on Sunday. Southwest wind shifting in, bringing in those warmer temperatures. And for the Chicago Marathon, so many in Chicago were showing off this weekend in terms of the weather and great running conditions as well, especially for the start of the race with temps in the 40s. Runners like it a little bit cooler. We'll quickly see those temps climb into the 50s and 60s during the late morning and afternoon. A little bit breezy, but we've had extreme weather when it comes to the marathon. Extreme heat. We've had rain. We've had cold. This is seasonal and beautiful, so good luck to everyone participating in that. Enjoy. We'll be cheering you on as we take a look at these temperatures, cheering on some warmer conditions as we go into next week with highs returning back into the 60s and 70s. But then another round of unseasonably cool weather will be settling in as we head late next week. So spelling this out tonight, showers ending, clear, cool, cold, perhaps some of you may think, turning on the heat, maybe coat tomorrow morning, and some patchy frost. Tomorrow our highs in the 50s, going into the 60s on Sunday. By Monday, temperatures beginning to ramp up a bit. For Tuesday and Wednesday, those highs in the 70s, some scattered showers, and then turning colder and a little bit breezy and chilly as we head into the end of next week. But we're in that time of the year, up and down temperatures. We're used to it, nothing too crazy, but it is the chilliest air yet happening right now into early tomorrow morning.
All right. I like that 73 and 75 Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah,
that looks
I like
good.
the 70s more.
Yes, same.
I'm still ahead. It's not West Nile, the mosquito-borne virus that's dangerous to both horses and humans, and it has been detected in northern Indiana.
And hard work paying off for thousands of high school students at Disney World.
Warning for people in northern Indiana. Mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus have been found there, and health officials say eastern equine encephalitis is active in multiple northern Indiana counties. 4 horses tested positive for this virus, and doctors say it is a serious threat to both horses and humans until the first hard freeze happens. There are no reported human cases so far.
The fever hasn't broken yet for the U.S. job market. The federal government reports the economy added 263,000 jobs last month. That's slightly less than economists had expected. The unemployment rate fell to 3.5%. While jobs are being added at a slower pace, the Federal Reserve could still raise rates again, possibly by another 0.75%.
Production of Tesla's semi-truck is underway. Pepsi's one of the first companies expected to receive these trucks. The soft drink giant issued a statement today saying these Tesla trucks will be used at its Frito-Lay and Pepsi facilities in California. They're expected to arrive by December. Tesla officials say the electric vehicles have a range of 500 miles.
And coming up next, we hear from a woman who had all charges dropped against her after spending 9 years in prison for the death of a child at a suburban daycare.
Parking tickets surge, the rise in citations issued in the city, and which areas are seeing the most fines. We're hearing from the Will County woman who spent 9 years in prison for the death of a baby at a daycare. A judge has dismissed the case against Jennifer Delpreet in the death of 14-month-old Isabella Zielinski.
Delpreet was released from prison but was expecting to face a new trial. Our Mayor Kawash with her reaction tonight to having all of those charges dropped.
I'm still in shock. I can't really sleep very well. I cry every couple hours.
It's a sense of freedom Jennifer Delpreet never thought she'd experience again. She was working at a daycare in 2002 and she says 14-month-old Isabella Zielinski stopped breathing under her care.
All I know is what happened to her with me was that she stopped breathing, and I exhausted all extremes that you would do with a baby. You would check her throat, you would put her on her tummy, you would do the Heimlich, you would try everything.
However, medical records obtained by Delpreet's attorneys later revealed the infant suffered a brain injury days before that.
And I remember it like yesterday, and I know in certainty that I did everything in my power to keep her alive.
A Romeoville detective wrote a memo expressing concerns about the autopsy, saying that a pathologist disagreed with the shaken baby syndrome theory. Journalism students at Northwestern University's Medill Justice Project then later uncovered that memo and helped exonerate her in 2014, leading to Delpreet's release from prison. But the possibility of another trial loomed until this week, when a judge dismissed the case over a lack of proof beyond reasonable doubt.
I'm hurt. I didn't even get an apology, which isn't going to make up for anything, but it would have been nice. So it's just more hurt than anything for me.
Delpreet says it's been a difficult 2 decades on her entire family, specifically for her 2 kids, now 25 and 33 years old.
All my family now suffers from anxiety, depression. Nothing that they could do or say could make up for all of that, not for especially my children.
Now working at a hotel in Galena, Delpreet has her eyes set on possibly starting a new business and even traveling with loved ones.
My sister told me to get my passport right away. She wants to go to Jamaica.
It's the freedom they've been praying for. But Delpreet says Isabella and her family will always be on her mind.
But I would tell them to their face that I did everything in my power to help her, and I never harmed her. I did everything I could to help her, and I'm very sorry for their loss, and I hope they have peace.
I'm Mayor Kawash, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Mayor, thanks. And Congressman Sean Casten is releasing new information about the death of his teenage daughter. Gwen Casten died in June in her sleep. She was 17. In a statement, her family says she died of a sudden cardiac arrhythmia, which caused her heart to suddenly stop. They write, quote, "We are heartbroken, but we are not unique. Sudden, unexplained heart failure among young, healthy people is rare, but real."
Might have found one on your car windshield. There's been a surge in the number of parking tickets issued here in Chicago. The number of tickets getting written is up nearly 26%. That's citywide. Some areas seeing more than others. The 42nd Ward has the most parking tickets issued. The 44th Ward is second for most tickets, followed by the 25th Ward. Our Sarah Schulte getting reaction tonight to the surge of tickets.
There is no mercy when it comes to parking tickets in Chicago. This driver got one while waiting for food at a food pantry. And tickets are a very sore subject for Roddy Hashish. His Lakeview Market is surrounded by parking meters.
Part of our budget, monthly budget between us and our employees, is about $300 a month on parking tickets.
Hashish pulls out a fresh one from today, $50 for an expired meter by just a couple minutes.
Oh, they're here 2-3 times a day, 4 times a day, easily.
Parking enforcement aides have been busy this year. According to city data, ticketing is up by more than 25% from January through June compared to the same time period last year. The 42nd Ward, which includes downtown and River North, tops the list.
We're seeing a real resurgence in tourism. A lot of folks are coming back to work in their offices, and I think that has a lot to do with it. That plus a lot more enforcement aides out there working every day.
42nd Ward Alderman Brendan Riley says there are double the amount of parking aides because the parking deal from years ago provided more help with enforcement. The 44th Ward, which includes Lakeview and Wrigleyville, receives the second most parking tickets in the city. Alderman Tom Tunney says his ward is full of new young residents not familiar with city stickers and parking restrictions.
It's kind of a rite of entry, welcome to the city.
Between populated areas with so many meters, loading zones, and restrictions, Tunney and Riley know their wards are fertile territory for revenue. Riley wants to see more tickets given for cars parked in bike lanes.
The greatest way to avoid getting a parking ticket is pay your meter and park in the right spot.
While ticketing is way up, booting is down by over 12% compared to the same time period last year. The wards next to Chicago's airports have the most boots. In Streeterville, Sarah Schulte, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
President Biden says Russia's threat to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine should be taken seriously because it could lead to what the president termed Armageddon. He was speaking off camera at a fundraiser when he made those comments. Meanwhile, it appears Vladimir Putin's military draft is causing men to leave Russia by the thousands. 2 even crossed into Alaska seeking asylum in the U.S.
This was a surprise to us. Who knows what's going to happen in the future if more individuals from Russia, tend to leave Russia through the Bering Straits.
Russian soldiers are also being accused of new war crimes in eastern Ukraine, allegedly committing atrocities as they retreat.
Sources in the Justice Department tell ABC News former President Trump still has not turned over all the government documents he took when he left office. Court filings show despite the FBI's seizure of thousands of documents from Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in August, DOJ thinks more materials are still missing. Top DOJ lawyer has reached out to Trump's lawyers directly about the missing documents.
A new report says federal agents believe they have enough evidence to charge the president's son, Hunter Biden, with tax crimes. That's according to the Washington Post. At issue is his tax and business dealings overseas, including when he worked with a Ukrainian company while his father was vice president. Hunter Biden's lawyer criticized the leak and says they have confidence that prosecutors will weigh all available evidence.
Now to the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. Search and rescue missions continue as residents face the daunting cleanup efforts ahead. Crews still going door to door, looking for any survivors.
The death toll has now dropped to 122 combined across both Florida and North Carolina, and that's because officials determined 6 deaths were not storm related. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest from Fort Myers tonight.
This was once a beautiful resort on the water in Fort Myers.
This was a 2-queen kitchenette room. So you would have your beds here, this was the bathroom. Completely gutted now. Completely gutted.
Now, room after room destroyed after Hurricane Ian made landfall nearby last week.
We were making like a game plan on, okay, if it gets one more step up, we're gonna swim and then just start waving for whoever to come get us.
Behind the hotel, boats slamming into the dock and washing ashore.
This is all debris from the boats here?
Yes, this is all debris from the boats, from the dock, from other people's yards or trash. It's just from everywhere.
Crews hard at work as they try to clean up and one day rebuild.
As long as we have food, we're alive, and we have each other, we're all right. We're just going to rebuild. We're strong, and we're going to come back. So.
More than 100,000 still without power. Most of the customers here in hard-hit Lee County.
There's a couple pockets that the electrical co-op in Lee County are still working on. I know they've made some progress in Cape Coral. We surged a bunch of extra linemen there, but then you have places like Sanibel where the whole system was just destroyed.
Search and rescue crews still going door to door looking for survivors. Nearly 100,000 structures already searched.
Particularly in those really hard-hit areas, searching for survivors and searching for what may be behind there. So it's really been a Herculean effort.
There have been some major signs of progress. Officials say more than 5,000 miles of roadway have been cleared and reopened, and same with more than 2,500 bridges now deemed safe. Rena Roy, ABC News, Fort Myers, Florida.
A suburban JHB group is helping victims of Hurricane Ian and first responders. They're taking food, water, and other needed items down to Tampa. Lake in the Hills Company makes fire safety simulators and was working with Hillsborough County Fire Department before that hurricane hit. Later, HBCU week at Disney World, the college fair making dreams come true. Cheryl?
And frost and freeze alerts here at home going into effect overnight. Just how cold it's going to get. The weekend feel. Will we see any rain? We'll time this all out coming up.
Human rights activists from Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia won this year's Nobel Peace Prize. Amid the war in Ukraine, the Norwegian Nobel Committee said they wanted to honor 3 outstanding champions of human rights, democracy, and peaceful coexistence. Asked whether they intentionally rebuked Russian President Vladimir Putin, the committee chair said the prize was not against anybody, but for the democratic values that the winners champion.
And the grandmother of Juneteenth was also nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And although Opal Lee was not selected, there was still cause to celebrate. Lee turned 96 years old today. She watched the results from a coffee shop in Fort Worth, Texas. She says just being nominated is one of the greatest honors. Juneteenth is the celebration of the emancipation of slaves in America.
How about it?
And coming up, high school students from across the country earning instant college admission and millions in scholarships at the most magical place on earth.
Good spot to be. It's part of HBCU Week, a week of celebration of historically black colleges and universities happening at Walt Disney World Resort right now.
Race and culture reporter Taronda Thomas from our sister station in Philadelphia has more now on how this event is changing lives.
We're becoming adults. It's a new chapter of our lives.
And these are the first steps walking into the HBCU College Fair.
I feel really, really good.
Because at this college fair, students don't just get information.
You could literally get a scholarship on the spot.
I'm the first in my family to go to college.
That type of hope now happening at Disney World, which for the first time is hosting HBCU Week. 7,000 students flocked to the college fair.
I know you see a long line out here.
Filling up the booths of more than 40 historically black colleges and universities who offer college acceptance and scholarships on the spot.
Obviously, that's what you're hoping for. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Wishing for a little Disney magic to make a moment like this one.
She received a presidential scholarship for $120,000.
Their scholarships from Delaware State and her full ride to Livingston College.
Tuition paid for all 4 years. All these students, all these schools, all these scholarships. It seems hard to believe, even for the woman who started HBCU Week.
This is just something that we couldn't have dreamed about or asked for more. It's incredible.
She's watched HBCU Week grow over the past 5 years from 700 students in Wilmington, Delaware to now being embraced by Disney on the Yard.
Bring this college fair to Walt Disney World Resort. I don't have the words other than to say my heart is filled and we're changing lives.
It's the reason ESPN's Stephen A. Smith brought his own show on the road as an HBCU Week ambassador and HBCU alum.
It's going to open the doors to higher education for a lot of folks who may not even thought they would ever have that opportunity.
It feels amazing. Thank you guys so much. Oh my God.
Making college possible in an instant.
We are so pleased to present this check to you for $50,000.
Overwhelmed to see her dream come true.
Oh, I get to this, thank God.
At a place where magic still happens.
We're in Disney World. Disney World, we make magic here.
Oh, there's a lot of magic happening in that room and a lot of hard work that went into it, you know?
Great point. Well deserved for all of them. You go down to Disney World just to experience that, and then you find out you'll be rewarded for all your efforts.
Pretty awesome. So to learn more about HBCU Week and the Disney on the Yard initiative, just log on to our website, abc7chicago.com.
Reminder that Disney is the parent company of ABC7. Congrats to everybody down there.
That's right. And when we come back here, the cheering toddler. You've got to see this. That video going viral. We're going to check out his moves.
He's so little. He's got it.
Yes.
Also, this beautiful pink diamond sets a new record. Couple mil. Couple 10 mil.
I think a lot more than that.
Okay.
Welcome back. So Lindsay Lohan will be home for Christmas, at least on screen.
Actress is starring in Falling for Christmas. The Netflix movie has Lohan portraying a recently engaged hotel heiress who suffers from amnesia following a skiing accident. As you probably have guessed, Lohan's character starts to fall for the man who is helping her recover. Lohan also sings a version of Jingle Bell Rock in the rom-com. The film is the first of a 3-picture deal Lohan has with the streaming giant. First leading role in a major film in nearly a decade for her, so that's good.
Wow, so we haven't seen her in that long.
Not in a lead like this, like a rom-com, yeah.
Wow,
I think it'll be good, yeah. It's like those Lifetime movies that we start watching them, you can't stop.
Christmas, huh? Just around the corner.
It's not far.
Just around the corner.
It's not far. And if you ever ask Cheryl Burton, she will tell you down to the day.
She's a Christmas baby.
Where we are, yeah, she is. So we're getting close. Let's get through Halloween first, right?
Exactly.
Maybe Thanksgiving, then we're there. Pink diamond sells for a record-setting price at auction.
Yeah, Rob was asking about the price, so here it is. 11.5 carat pink diamond set a new world record, selling for $57.7 million at auction. What did you guess? A couple mil?
I mean, I know nothing about diamonds, clearly.
Oh my gosh, look at that. It shatters the previous record of nearly $2.7 million per carat. That sold in 2018. So this flawless Williamson pink star diamond was found in Tanzania in one of the oldest operating diamond mines in the world.
What do you do with that?
I was wondering the same thing.
Do you wear it?
Can you imagine
I guess
showing up at, your kid's soccer game, with that?
I think it almost looks fake.
Right?
Like if someone was all glammed up and they're going to a formal event and you
wouldn't
see
even take
that,
it seriously.
you'd be like, that's a really nice looking fake diamond. You're like, oh, let me tell you. Wow. And how do you insure something like that?
I don't know, yeah.
It's pretty though.
Problems for those who can afford it.
I mean, 57 mil.
Not us.
No.
All right, now you got to see this. The 2-year-old on the sideline stealing the show.
Check it out.
Everybody, everybody up.
All right.
He is awesome.
Yes. Liam here is going viral for his impressive cheerleading moves. That's him cheering at a recent football game. His sister's a cheerleader. Okay, he's not done. His sister's cheerleader and he's had to sit through a lot of practices. Nice job, buddy. He nails every move, including you saw that jump at the end. Like, I've been to all of these.
I know. He's like, I know how this goes.
Let
if
me
you linger
join.
just a little bit, he's going to jump again. There it goes. Go. Here we go.
goes.
Liam. Woo!
Okay. Are you kidding me?
Of course, I don't know if he's going to be so happy to see that later on when he's older. He's like, Mom, what are you doing?
He might become like this great cheerleader. I don't know.
He could.
He's got to be pretty cool amongst his sister's friends.
Oh, yeah. That's what the younger siblings do, huh? Sit through all the older siblings
Well,
stuff.
that's why AJ, your youngest, has seen a lot of volleyball and basketball over the years.
Mm-hmm. And some cheerleading and some poms, and so
I bet he could
he's
do all
very
of it.
versatile.
Right. Multi-talented. It's time for our Friday forecast. We are nearly done with this program. You've done all the shows.
Yes, one more to go, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock to go.
Back on ABC 7.
That's a hard marathon.
It's a marathon, yeah.
You got it, but now we're awake.
Not quite like the marathon on Sunday.
Right, yes, it's
I
not.
mean, this is nothing compared to that.
No, it's not. But we're nearly there on this Friday. A last look at your forecast. It's cold.
It is really chilly and temperatures are going to continue to dip. That's the main story here as we head overnight into the 30s. We wake up tomorrow low to mid 30s, near that freezing mark in so many locations. This is the chilliest air mass this season since last May, settling in overnight tonight. So waking up tomorrow morning, heading out the door, this is what you're going to be hit with. You may want a few layers, a coat. We're expecting those temps to stay above freezing in downtown Chicago and central Cook County, close to the lakefront here. So no advisory or warning in place. However, we do have frost and freeze alerts on the map. Freeze warning, counties in purple up to the north and west, back along I-39, and then a frost advisory here for our counties in blue. And that's going to remain in effect or go into effect overnight and last until tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Areas of patchy frost in the blue, a hard freeze possible here across our far northwestern counties. So be prepared for that. Any sensitive vegetation or anything at all, keep that in mind. It's going to be rather frigid waking up tomorrow morning. We will see those temps quickly climb above freezing, but again, another low bar day. We're going to see those highs only in the mid to upper 50s. Thankfully, we'll have the sunshine, all of this cool air just settling in here across the northern half of the country, Northeast, New England, Mid-Atlantic, getting in on this cooler weather across the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, everyone feeling this chill. Again, the chilliest, coolest air mass here really setting in across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. We had some lake effect rain showers earlier. That activity has now ended and will stay dry overnight and into the start of the weekend. Tomorrow greeted with the cool weather, but also some sunshine, a few passing high clouds, but that's about it for our Saturday. It's going to be a beautiful day in terms of our sky conditions, still a little bit chilly. As we head into the day on Sunday, we start off in the 40s, so not as cool. We climb into the 60s. Again, not anticipating any big weather makers here. No rain, not looking at accumulating rainfall throughout the entire weekend. So plenty of dry time, beautiful conditions, just a little bit cool on Saturday. Come Sunday, we get those temps back up to near average, mid to upper 60s. A beautiful fall day here, wind shifting in from the south and west. So if anyone's taking part in that Chicago Marathon, weather conditions looking just almost near perfect for you. We start off in the low to mid 40s, and then by about 10 a.m. we get those temperatures up into the 50s, 60s for the afternoon. So if you like it cool, you got to get the race done a little bit faster, but we'll get those temperatures up into the 60s. But we've had extreme weather on our marathon weekends, extreme heat, cold, rain. We've seen it all. Tomorrow or Sunday looking just fabulous for you, and good luck to everyone taking part in that marathon and anyone doing any outdoor activities. Enjoy it. Just a little bit chilly for our Saturday. Temperatures back to near average by Sunday. We go back above average for the middle of next week. By Tuesday and Wednesday, high temps returning into the 70s, so they're not done just yet. But then a sharp change here as we go into late next week with those temperatures dropping back to below average and consecutive days of that cool weather. For tonight, it's chilly. Tomorrow morning, near 30 degrees in the 30s area-wide. Tomorrow afternoon in the 50s. The weekend looking fantastic. 66 on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday up into the 70s we go. And then that cooler weather returning to the area late next week. A few showers Tuesday and Wednesday of next week as well. But the next couple of days looking great for those skies. Plenty of sunshine, just some patchy frost tomorrow morning. Back to you guys.
All right, Cheryl, thank you. Your home may be your sanctuary, but for one man, it's also a work of art, literally.
Oh,
it's a lot of doodles.
Yeah, a lot.
Just about done at 7 on the stream team. Look at this, a British artist taking home decoration to a new level. This is his house. It's a time lapse of Sam Cox.
I can't believe he did that to his house.
He's drawing doodle art over the whole house. Everything from the bathtub to the kitchen sink is covered. Look outside. He spent 2 years decorating the 12-room house. Says it took several years to plan.
I have a few things to say.
Yeah.
Well, one, I'm going to get really dizzy in that house. If you think about it, right? Two, As a mom, I just want to say, kids, we don't doodle on the walls.
Yes, well, he even has a doodle shirt.
Let's not try this at home.
So you would think one time you have to sell, right?
Oh, right.
And we'd like to show you that it's a beautiful home, Judy, but there's one thing about it.
He'd have to offer a paint budget to the buyer.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to need a few fresh coats of paint. I think it's cool, but it's not my speed.
Not really my cup of tea.
No. There you go. I think he was over. Very good. That's a pun to end the show.
Yes,
I was
that's
great.
it.
Great having
Good.
you on the stream team
All
as
right,
always.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see you back over on ABC 7 at 10.
Alan, Judy, and Cheryl at 10. I'll be working on a report about the marathon.
About the marathon.
Let's go.
All right. See you then.